Hey movers and shakers, welcome to the 7-Figure Moving Academy. Today I'm going to be speaking with Lewis Kirby from movermarketing.io. And we're going to be talking everything search engine optimization, SEO, search engine marketing, and how we can get you mass traffic attraction. That's right, we're going to be talking about how we can use SEO and bring you a massive amount of leads. Everything about SEO that you need to know to get your website to the point where it's just bringing you floods of prospects and leads and ultimately sales. So guys, you're going to want to stay tuned through the entire end of this video. Make sure if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and pulverize that subscribe button and the like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, thank you. Bye-bye.
Tell me a little bit about SEO. What is search engine optimization?
Sure. So SEO is the process of getting your website found on Google for free. So you're not paying for the click. People are finding your website when they're searching for your service in your area. So it might be movers in Chicago. The SEO is the process of making sure that your website can be found organically without having to pay for ads at the top of the search results. So then you can get all of the business and all of the traffic without having to sacrifice your profit to the ads. So that's essentially what SEO is.
Okay, so what's the difference then between SEO and SEM, search engine marketing?
Yeah, so SEM is, well, marketing, search engine marketing encompasses the broad term of marketing through a search engine. So marketing can be organic and it can be paid. And you can do search engine advertising, which is going to be like Google ads, your Bing ads, that kind of thing. And then you've got SEO. So SEM is search engine marketing, is the all-encompassing term of both SEO and search engine advertising.
Okay, and what makes SEO and SEM so powerful, and why is it such a thing that it brings in a lot of leads for a company?
Yeah, so it's a great way to market your business. Whether you're doing SEO or Google ads, if you're marketing through a search engine, you've got the highest intent buyers right there. So 28%, I think it is, of local businesses, local searches actually result in a purchase. So if you think about if you're on Facebook or Instagram, for example, 28% of those people scrolling through their feed that aren't going to result in a purchase. They're just scrolling through their feed because they're scrolling through their feed. But if of all the people looking for a local business, I think it's around 28% actually result in a purchase. So you've got the highest intent people to land on your site. So that's the main power behind it. And then if you drill down into SEO in particular, obviously that's going to make you more profitable. You're not having to pay for the click. It's going to make you more credible, because if someone sees, not many people really know what goes into SEO and what's like the average consumer. But they're going to think, oh, this person does show up on Google when I search for them. So they're probably a more trustworthy, more reputable company. So you've got that credibility bonus there. And then obviously as well, it's predictable. It's once you've got that spot, you're going to be able to keep your presence up to date. If you're ranking number one in your area, in your suburb, you're going to have a steady stream of leads that you don't have to pay for. So then you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to get moves. Maybe my crews are going to go elsewhere. All of these different things that you don't want to have to be worrying about. It's that predictable way of getting leads as well.
All right, excellent. So you got this predictability here. Now, obviously, SEO is a long-term strategy play. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's with any organic. So if you're doing organic search or organic social, it's going to take some time to build up. We do a couple of things that we'll dive into on today's call about how to get better results quicker, and how you're going to be able to do that. But yeah, it's about a long-term strategy play and building something sustainable for the future. I know not many people would. It's not going to be too attractive SEO if it's not as quick and not as quick results. But really, if you ask any moving company owner out there, are you going to be in business 1 year from now? If they say yes, if in those 12 months, then they're in the position where they're ranking really, really well because they've put in the investment or put in the time to work on their site. Then it seems like a no-brainer. And if you're planning on a longer time horizon, it's really a short period of time. If you say I'm going to build this business over the next 10 years, and it's going to take me 6 months to a year to rank pretty well, over the next 10 years, you'll just be dominating your area.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, I've been looking at, SEO is always evolving, and Google's always is changing their algorithm. And I think they actually did a huge update recently, or going to do a large update. So, I mean, the strategy is that you want a lot of content that people are actually searching for, that actually gives the answers to a particular question, versus to the old school, the way I used to do it, where you made a web page and you keyword stuff the article, and it was Lansing Movers, Michigan, every other word kind of thing, and you know what I mean? So tell me a little bit about the difference now, how we should be structuring our SEO versus like even just even a year ago. You know what I mean? Because I'm noticing that when you go on do a search for whatever, as long if the web page that comes number one is actually some sort of like, it's not really thing, but it gives you like a steps, like 1, 2, step 1, 2, 3, or whatever you're asking for. It really gives an explanation of whatever is being searched for versus a web page.
Yeah, for sure. So it's always changing. You're right. And the main thing that I think about when working on client campaigns is mainly just Google is looking to optimize the human experience as much as possible. And as yourself, you can put yourself in your shoes, and maybe not as someone looking for moving services, but as someone looking for, I'm not sure if you're going to get you might need a plumber or anything like that. You can put yourself in that situation, and what's going to actually be the best experience for you. And it's kind of moved towards, as you kind of alluded to, is the zero-click search is when you're searching for a question and then the answer just appears on the search result page. You don't have to click through to anything. So there are those changes that we do see, and those are things that we've got to bear in mind when it comes to content, particularly on the blog. So if it's more of an informational article, if you're trying to rank your moving company in, let's just take Chicago, best schools in Naperville, a suburb, then you'd want to make sure that your content on that blog post is structured in the right way, so it can actually show up for those searches on the search result right away. And it may or may not generate a click to your website. It may or may not generate a lead for your moving company. But it's just all about bearing in mind what's Google looking for, and they're looking for the best possible human experience. So what you mentioned with what used to work is keyword stuffing, getting loads and loads of backlinks to your web pages, and you'd be able to rank really, really well. Now, just think about what's a human actually going to like, because over time, these engineers at Google, they're probably smarter than all of us about what they're building over there. And just think about what's the human going to want. Is it going to be a page that's stuffed through full of keywords, or is it going to be a page that's designed nicely? It's easy to convert. It's easy to actually get in touch. It's got helpful information, genuinely helpful information on that page, and just making sure that your content is all geared towards that. So Google updates are coming out all the time. They come and go. Some people are affected, some people are not. What I try to do really is just focus on just doing the right thing. You don't have to be too worried if you're just doing the right thing, not doing anything too crazy. You're not stuffing things. Just optimize for the human, and then you should be fine.
So if you're doing a web page, let's say on the how to pack a house, right? you want to have like, you want to answer all the questions, and maybe even put like a little a preamble of like, hey, you're going to learn how to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then explain the procedure in that manner, and actually answer the questions that people are looking for based on an avatar. So obviously I'm not going to write a page to college kids or co-eds when I'm writing a particular article to homeowners, right? So I'm not going to target, this is how you pack if you're college when I'm talking to homeowners. Am I correct?
Yeah. So you would do a bit of research in the early phases, just thinking about where the demand is, because that's going to inform the type of content that you're actually creating. So there might be specific demand for how to pack a college dorm room, and then in that case, you're going to tailor your content accordingly. But yeah, so just making sure that you're clear on who you're writing for. Yeah, that's a really good point that you brought up there, Jay. Just being clear on who you're writing for, and making sure that matches the keyword you're targeting, but also the audience that they're going to be there.
Okay, good. Now tell me a little bit about the structure of a good web page that what is a good structure of a web page that will bring in the eyeballs?
Yeah, sure. So SEO, we look at SEO as two parts. So website SEO and Google Business SEO. We'll stick with website SEO. So there are three main parts of that website SEO area: the technical side, the content, and also the authority of your website, of your web page. So if we're taking a web page, we're just going to stick with movers in Chicago. From a technical standpoint, Google's really looking for here, is it offering a good user experience? And is it a site that can be crawled and therefore indexed easily? And when I say indexed, I mean put onto the Google search result pages. So usually with local business sites, it's not too much of an issue, and you don't need to put a ton of effort into it, but it's something that you want to make sure is taken care of, because it could be that thing that's holding you back and you just don't know why. So be aware of technical SEO, but I would say you're kind of, if you think about the 80-20 principle, the 20% of the effort that you put in is going to more come through from content, which is the next part. So as far as content's concerned, Google's looking for pages and pieces of content on the site that are relevant, valuable, and in-depth. So first of all, you want a relevant page. So we're kind of just going to go through a tick list, I suppose. So you want your page to show to be optimized for the keyword that you want to rank for. And if we're taking Movers Chicago, you might have mymovingcompany.com/movers-Chicago as your URL. And then just a tip there, use hyphens to separate the words rather than underscores in your URLs. So we've got the URL. Now we need to build out the title. And the title is when you search Moving Company Chicago, it's the blue links that appear on the search result page. So we need to build ourselves one of those for our page. And we would want to put in our keyword there just once. Don't stuff it twice. I know it's going to be very tempting to do so, but just optimize for the human. If someone's seeing Moving Company Chicago, they're gonna be like, what is this? Instead, just say ABC Movers, or it might be number 1 rated moving company in Chicago, ABC Movers. That could be your title tag there. So we've got that taken care of. Now we've got the meta description. So when you're searching Moving Company Chicago, you're going to see the blue links, which are the titles, and then there's a little bit of text underneath on the search pages that is your meta description. Now this isn't necessarily a ranking factor per se, but what it can do is that sometimes you might have noticed it when you search yourself, it might bold the keyword. So I'd recommend putting the keyword in your meta description there, and that can actually increase the chance of a click. And make sure it's compelling as well. Explain, oh, we've got 350 5-star reviews or something like that. Something to encourage someone to click on yours over someone else's. Because if Google's seeing that it's you're getting a high click-through rate as well, that can also be something that it likes and is going to rank you higher. So then moving into the actual page now, after doing all the setup, we're looking at headings. So making sure that we've got a clear hierarchy of headings in our content, and also, as we alluded to, answers to questions that people may have as they're looking for a mover. So the first heading, and you'll just put one of these, is a heading 1. And in your website, you'll get the option to choose which type of heading you want. And in that heading 1, you're going to want your main keyword. So this could be very similar to your title tag. You might have moving company in Chicago, #1 moving company in Chicago. And then beneath that, you're probably going to have a bit of description. What I'd recommend doing is putting your main keyword in your first 100 words of content, because that's going to help as well. And then we're going to move into probably further down the page, and we're going to have some heading 2s. So these are your secondary headings, and this is your opportunity to actually break down your page into a bit more detail. So in the first heading 2, I'd recommend putting your main keyword or a slight variation of it. So it could be something like, if you're seeing most of the searches are for movers Chicago, you're probably going to create your heading 1 around movers Chicago. But then you might put in your heading 2, your first heading 2, moving company Chicago. It's going to understand all the same. We're focusing on this keyword. So then from there, I recommend taking a look at what your competition are doing in terms of what they're writing on their site. We've got lots of evidence about what sites are doing well, so we can actually use that. They've pretty much done the hard work for us. We can see, oh, this person's written this much content. So I'm probably guessing that Google's looking for about let's say 1,200 words of content. So I'm probably going to write somewhere in that range. You don't need to blow people away with 4,000 words of content. Just kind of just see what people are doing, see what people are doing well, because that's Google showing you what it actually likes to see from the search results. So I'd recommend writing around the same or a little bit more of content that your competitors are, and then offering opportunities for conversion throughout the site, obviously, because we don't want to get all this traffic into our site without having the opportunity for them to actually get in touch and call us. So make sure it's designed well, and it's loading fast as well. That's something that's really important with user experience, something that Google looks at. And there's no strict rule as far as keyword density is concerned, so how many times you're actually mentioning the keyword. But what I'd always recommend is just keep it natural, and make sure make sure your content's still making sense. You'll also have the opportunity to add in FAQs about your moving services in Chicago. Drop those in as well if it makes sense to do so. And then that's essentially it in terms of content. So what you'd then look to do is get links from elsewhere on your site, and these are called internal links because they're within your site, internal links. And what these do is they help Google to crawl your site and see what different pages are about. So you might have different blog posts out there. You might have your homepage. Homepage. Make sure you link to that Movers in Chicago page, and that's all going to help build up the strength of that page as a whole. So that's essentially the foundations of an effective page.
Excellent. Now, we were discussing there, and you kind of mentioned an thing. So we're targeting, let's say, a keyword, right? And the keyword is how to pack a house, right? So you might put that in your URL, like abcmovers.com/how to pack a house, right? Your title might be the 10 most efficient ways to pack a house, right? Is your title. And after that, you really don't have to really use that keyword a lot because Google's so sophisticated now. It knows that, hey, based on the title, based on the metadata, this is what the subject's about. And you know what I mean? You don't really have to use the keyword over and over and over and over and over. You might want to sprinkle it in here and there or various variations, but you really don't have to, as long as you're more concerned about writing towards the person who's going to be reading that particular article on your website. Am I understanding that correct?
Yeah, you don't need to force it in loads. Something that's going to be really valuable, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jay, is the fact that it's going to be looking for different words related to what you're doing. So you've got to think about, okay, so people are going to be thinking about boxes and maybe fragiles and different words like maybe room, kids' room, bathroom, kitchen, these kinds of words. And those are going to be all different words that actually relate to how to pack a house. Different things like tape and all of that. So making sure that you're actually using those as well is actually something that's that I'd really recommend doing. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So tell me about what keywords are, long tail keywords, and why we want to target those.
Yeah, sure. So keywords are your foundation of SEO, and you want a good keyword plan. So which page is going to rank for which keyword? That's really what you want to be thinking about when it comes to your SEO strategy. Keyword is a search term that someone types into Google, and something you brought up, long tail keywords are keywords that are a bit longer, so three, 4 words in length. And they can actually offer some really great opportunities. Sometimes you might be able to find keywords that are longer, but they're still getting searched quite a lot. But oftentimes, if they are longer, then not many people are targeting them as much, giving you the opportunity to actually rank better. So an example of this could be senior movers in Chicago, rather than just movers in Chicago. Fewer people would be searching that, but the search is very high intent, so the conversion rate could be very good. And also the fewer people are going to be actually thinking, I want to create a senior movers page for my site. So you're going to have less competition out there when it comes to actually ranking on the search results.
Right. Okay, good. You just mentioned something a moment ago. You said high intent. So someone who's dabbled and studied SEO, to be honest with you, when we're targeting a keyword or a long tail keyword, we're just going to use keyword from here on out. We're not going to differentiate between the two. You want to go for those words that are going to be high purchase type content words, like those words that are, it's like, hey, this is what we're looking for, which are going to show that there's an intent to purchase that service and or product, versus, hey, the 10 best hot spots where you can party all night, versus kind of.
Yeah, that's right. So what you mentioned with how to pack a house, it might get a lot of volume, but you don't know if they're searching from Florida, Texas, California. You don't know where they're searching from. So that could be a lead. It could not be. So what I'd really say is, when it comes to your content, make it local, if possible. Now, something you brought up about 10 best party spots. I would actually say that's probably a better keyword to target for a moving company owner than how to pack a house, because the 10 best party spots, someone might be looking because they're about to move into somewhere. They might be a student, and you specialize in student moves. So if you're able to create a page about 10 best party spots, what that's going to do is that's going to actually show Google that you've got a page. So you're going to be able to get some traffic, people searching for 10 best party spots. That's great. But something that people don't actually appreciate is the fact that you would have a page there that's then showing Google, okay, these people are actually creating some really valuable content around people, maybe young people moving to a certain area. So let's say if you're in Chicago, you're creating content and you're specializing in student moves. Then if you link that page then back to your student moves page, then that's going to show what's called topical relevance here. And that's really what you can be doing to start to try and compete with the bigger players in your industry, and start to actually Yeah, because I know the average moving company coming up against the likes of 2 men in a truck on the search results is always going to be a challenge. But if you're able to create specific content that's really going to show that topic of relevance, that's really how we're able to help our clients to see some pretty good results really with their things. So yeah, that's a good point you raised. Topical relevance and blog content. But yeah, the money is made in the high intent keywords. With all that being said, so focusing primarily on the search terms where someone's looking for a service, they're looking to buy. That's the first thing to do, because that's what's going to drive the results. But the blog content like that is going to serve its value in more ways than one.
Right. Yeah. The what I was more going for is you want to concentrate first on your high intent type of pages or posts or whatever you're doing, right? And then from there you can go down towards, okay, now the 10 hardest spots. So for instance, if I've got a labor only company and I'm targeting college moves, I'm going to write a page about the best college moves, how to move effectively or something of that nature. And then later down the line of that there's going to be subsequent articles that would then address these kind of topical relevancies, like the 10 best 10 best fraternities where to party at, or the 10 best sororities, blah blah blah, that will then link up to eventually to your money page.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So you'd have one page ranking where you're looking to rank for one keyword. So that money page, it could be that labor only or college movers or whatever it is. And something that I see a lot is lots of people, they think, oh, if I create more pages for this same keyword, I'm going to have a better chance. But that actually causes problems, because that causes what's called keyword cannibalization, where you have loads of pages competing for the same keyword, but then they end up kind of competing with one another, and no one ends up ranking that well. So yeah, just one page per keyword.
Excellent, thank you. So let's talk about a little bit of offline SEO. Google business profiles, or whatever it's now called. A lot of people have misunderstandings about the effectiveness of this, right? So talk to us. How do we get listed in Google profiles, business profiles, so that we rank very high? Because if anybody does a search for movers or moving or plumbers, it doesn't really matter. You're going to get a list of of those services in your area based on the parameters in your website. So if you're saying movers near me, you're going to get 2 men in truck, college hunks, black tie, whatever it is, all my sons, et cetera, right? So how do we optimize for that snack pack?
Yeah, for sure. This is incredibly important, because